everyone. It is me, Sailor Moon, and me, shit, and me, Sailor Mini Moon here. And today we're going to talk about worship in Sailor Moon. Now, for a show that many folks say has nothing to do with worship and only about friendship, well, that would be kind of a lie. Now, you might say, what do you mean, Sailor Moon? Why are we talking about worship in Sailor Moon? Well, it does show up. At least two worships show up. Shintoism, or also known as Way of the Gods, or Way of God, and Christendom are the two worships that show up in Sailor Moon in my world. Yes, there is other worships in Dawnland, but those seem to be the two big ones. Alright? And I don't want anyone out there from other side, other kind of worship feeling left out and say, well, why wasn't my worship in there? I guess it was. I don't know. So, Christendom, which came to Dawnland, and I think it was even between 100 YLs, but really didn't catch on with a lot of folks until years later, after it became. It was Christendom was in Dawnland, then it was out, then it was made unlawful, then it was made lawful again, and a lot of folks have this held belief that, have a held belief about, how many folks in Dawnland are Christendom or not. I can't tell you. But Christendom is one of the first worships in Sailor Moon, behind Shintoism. First, because Rei, Sailor Mars, being a Shintoist holy woman, her grandfather being a Shintoist holy man, and they run a Shintoist worship house. And that happens a lot. It is shown many times throughout the 5 followings and the 4 followings, depending if you're doing Deke or CLOVERWAY or Toei or Viz. Another time, Christendom shows up at least 3 times in Sailor Moon. The first time when Molly goes to see a holy man after Nephlite dies, and this is before Zoisite comes after him and wants to take his rainbow hearse from him. And when Tiger's Eye goes after a holy woman, believing that she has Pegasus, the wing horse, Helios, in one of her dreams. And then one of the Sailor Starlight's teachers, one of their overseers for one of their shows or films or plays, happens to be a worship woman during the day. Now, I know a lot of folks out there might think that I'm making too much of a big deal about it. I'm not. Now, does it play big? Yeah, I guess so. A lot of folks like to say that a lot of folks have this held belief that about no one really seems to know who belongs to what worship. Now, I'm Christendom. Some folks would say that Sailor Mars is Shintoism, or whatever you would call a Shintoist. I don't know, is Shinto folk. And no one really seems to know what Sailor Mercury falls. Some say that she's a non-believer, but I don't really know if there's any truth to back that up or not. We don't really know what Sailor Jupiter or Sailor Venus's worship is. And as far as what Sailor Pluto and Sailor Uranus, Sailor Neptune's worship is, or Sailor Saturn, no one really seems to know. You're right, Sailor Moon. Worship does not really get talked about or shown that much in Sailor Moon. Or if it is, it's only there and it doesn't really play into the ground of the saga or the tale. A lot of folks would think that the whole new birth, of having past lives, which comes from, Buddhism, which they believe in that, and since it seems to be that they seem to think that was they think that was the thing, you know. Since Naiko Takeuchi or Takeuchi, however you say her kin name, was a Buddhist and happened to belong to Buddhism, and that is one of their beliefs, you know. At the end of the day, to really say at the end of the day, you know, how worship was handled in Sailor Moon, well, Toei just had it there. Deke and Cloverway cleaned a lot of the words, took a lot of the words out, you know. And as far as Viz is, they mostly just, you know, left it the way it was, only yes, it's in English. So, yeah, but I think worship in Sailor Moon was handled well, or at least as near as they could handle it. You know, yes, I know there's many other worships out there, and those folks might feel why their worship was not offshooted into Sailor Moon. Well, I don't know. Need be there were a lot of other folks in the Sailor Moon world who had other worships, but since they were not the main cells or the lesser cells, we'll say, it really didn't come up that much, you know. So, anyway, I think it was handled in a onlooking way. At least that's my held belief. I can't speak for you or not, or what your take on worship was. Yeah, and it does come up in PGSM, the live showing, the live show, when one of the holy men happens to have been taken over by one of Queen Beryl's fiends. So yeah, it does kind of, you know, it happens. Now anyway, back to you. You're right, Sailor Mini Moon. I think that how worship was handled had to do with either Deke or Cloverway or Toei or Viz or whatever. And a lot of folks like to say, oh, worship has nothing to do with it, it's about friendship. Well, I think worship has a lot to do with it. I think worship and friendship both were big in Sailor Moon, you know? And it's hard to say, you know, hard to say. And a lot of folks are going to say, oh, well, it never comes up in the books. I don't know. I mean, I do have the drawing books, and I do have some of the smiley books, but your guess is good as mine if it comes up or not in them or not. So anyway, if you like this film, then follow us over here at Sailor Moon for Life. Watch the other film we made yesterday over here, which was also a live stream we made yesterday too. Sailor Moon Serena, and I, Sailor Mini Moon or Small Moon or Little Moon Rini, and I'll see you later. Bye.